because they're being killed, and we don't want to see people be killed. Now, South Africa leadership is coming to see me, I understand, sometime next week. And, we're supposed to have I guess a G20 meeting there or something, but we're having a G20 meeting. I don't know how we can go unless that situation's taken care of, but it's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about, but it's a terrible thing that's taking place, and farmers are being killed. They happen to be white, but whether they're white or black makes no difference to me, but white farmers are being brutally killed, and their land is being confiscated in South Africa. And the newspapers and the media, television media, doesn't even talk about it. If it were the other way around, they'd talk about it. That would be the only story they'd talk about. And I don't care who they are. I don't care about their race, their color. I don't care about their height, their weight. I don't care about anything. I just know that what's happening is terrible. I have people that live in South Africa. They say it's a terrible situation taking place. So we've essentially extended citizenship to those people to escape from that violence and come here.
And part of that is that the people who are native to that land deserve their rightful land back. That is not what the Afrikaners actually want to have happen, which are the white Africans, and so who are not originally from Africa, who colonized South Africa also. And so that is what they are saying is discrimination. Now, if the Constitution in South Africa is discriminatory, they have their checks and balances in that land just like we do. And that is for them to. So if the Afrikaners don't actually like the land, they can leave that country.
They are. They're leaving to come here.
No. They can
These refugees are coming here.
They can actually leave and go to where their native land is, which is probably Germany.
Are you against them coming here?
Holland, probably.
Holland.
I don't know. I don't know if they weigh one against the other that way. I mean, I do think it's not alleged discrimination that these people are facing in South Africa. I mean, the law there absolutely allows their property to be confiscated. They are subject to racial discrimination. Some have been subject to violence from some reports that I have read. I mean, we're talking about 50-something people, and the people who seem to be angriest about this today had no problem with 20 million coming here. Some of the worst people in the world coming here, including gang members and so on and so forth. So I don't have a lot of sympathy for the folks who are outraged today after what happened to this country over the last several years, over 50-something people who are clearly being discriminated against in South Africa.
You can't make this stuff up. I've been saying for the longest time, if Donald Trump wants the Democrats to be opposed to something, all he has to do is do something in line with what they've been doing over the last 4 years. So from the intro, Trump decided that he wanted to allow white South Africans to take refuge in the United States of America because of the fact that they're being prosecuted politically, legally, physically. Like, I don't understand why people are trying to pretend that, white South Africans aren't being prosecuted. Like, make it make sense. The same problem that happened, like what they say 7%, they only make up 7% of the population, but they have most like 66% of the farms are owned by white South Africans. Now, some people will say, oh, that's because of the colonization and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, they're still making food. They're still making crops for South Africa. And here's the funny part I always talk about is that this law is not going to end well for Africa because there's something called human capital, right? And these people, these 7%ers, right? They maintain most of the farmland. How did they get this way? And this is the funny part, because I think they tried something like this before. Some other country in Africa tried something similar. They took all the businesses from all the white European people, Asian people, when they fled the country. I forgot what country that was. Let me know in the comment section if you know what country I'm referring to. But it ended up being an economic disaster for that African country after they took all the businesses from the white people. They didn't know how to run it because they didn't create it in the first place. And it's the same issue that's going to happen here.
The White House says white South Africans are under a, quote, government-sponsored race-based discrimination over a law it claims allows racially motivated seizures of land. But South African leaders strongly deny the allegations. The South African government says Afrikaners, who are descendants of Dutch settlers, benefit the most economically. While they make up only 7% of the population, they also occupy most of the farmland. The new law in question gives the South African government permission to take land without compensation in certain cases to address disparities to black South Africans as a result of the apartheid era. Again, we are supposed to hear from
You know the game of politics, deny, 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 right? So you have the mainstream media out here saying that there's no genocide of Afrikaners in South Africa. This is a false statement, right? You know, obviously, always have to go against Trump. You know, these people always have to fulfill their bias. And then here's TikToks literally showing the opposite effect. Is that so, Michael? Kill the Boer means kill the white farmers, right? I don't know if I can play the song. I don't know if I can play, but I can give you a snippet of what they're doing. Shoot to kill. Shoot to kill. Code names, huh? Oh, the South African government has denied all claims of this happening. Yeah, the same way that Biden administrative team, Biden staffers were denying that Biden was going through a mental decline. He wasn't going through a mental decline, that Biden was mentally fit for office, and you just took their word for it. Journalists, you doing the same thing here? Oh, okay. Pattern recognition. That's one skill I know I have down pack. Make it make sense. Y'all doing the same exact thing. Oh, we're just going to take the officials' word for it. We're not going to do any investigations. Under certain circumstances, the government can confiscate land from white Africans. Yeah. But this is what they do. They play these games, right? And then for what? Just to oppose Trump. Anything to oppose Trump. He's literally doing something that they've been claiming. Oh, all these people running economic poverty. And I've seen videos of these South Africans. Let me see if I can find one. And a lot of this shows me that through their actions, a lot of liberals admitted, to me at least, through their actions, that replacement theory was a thing. Because you getting mad over 50 white people coming over the country legally, invited by the U.S., you crying foul over that, but you're not crying over criminals, 400,000 criminals coming over the border. Democrats, I got your priorities messed up. But I always told you it was political, because let's play the game of odds. Those 50 immigrants that was allowed to come here from West Africa, from South Africa. You think they're likely to vote Trump in 5 years? Vote Republican in 5 years once they get their citizenship? I will say there's a good chance that that's the case. I'll say a good 60% of them will vote. 70% of them will vote for Trump. And that proves my argument. Democrats know, hey, these illegals that come from these other parts of the world, they running from socialism, all this stuff, they're more prone to vote for them. That's why they didn't say a bleep when 50 million of those people came over. But all of a sudden, when white, European, right, Christian, that's a religion, those 50 of them come over here, outrage. Make it make sense. How you can justify that outrage? What's 50 compared to 50 million? This proves that Democrats, the whole border immigration issue is only political. It proves that. And as usual, Trump always exposing the fake news. So I want to react to the conversation that's going on this panel about these refugees, and they're claiming that Trump's giving them special treatment. But Trump already closed the border, 95% down compared to last year. He's bringing over 50, you outraging over that. Cry me a river. Let's continue with this clip.
Okay. So if you think about the history of South Africa, it being under an apartheid system, where I think it is 80% of the population that are black Africans only own 4% of the land. That is because they were put in shanty towns and moved into areas where they had no rights. And so 30 plus years ago, they went through the apartheid system ended, and they reformed their
revolution, but that might sound violent. And at the end of the day, history is history, man. You got to move forward, bro. Everyone took losses. If you look through history of any mankind, victors, you lose, discriminate. Like, it's part of human nature. War has always been a part of human like history. And you want to hold the descendants of these people responsible for something that they didn't personally do. They just been held, they just did with the hands that they were dealt, and they made the most of it. I think the farmers make most of their own food because they own most of the land. The South Africans could have learned, hey, look, it wasn't your fault. You just happened to be born from these people, all right? Help us be self-sustaining. But instead of doing that, instead of getting the knowledge and spreading around to your people so that they'll be able to create their own farms, maintain their own industry, you want to kick the people out and you just think you're going to learn maintaining the ropes on your own? You're prosecuting these people, hitting these people. Like, what purpose does that serve? Does that benefit Africa in the long term? Or satiate your emotional vengeance, historical vengeance? But, I digress. Maybe I'm too logical for my own good, man. Maybe I'm too logical for my own good. Instead of learning from the white South Africans, hey, how you guys are able to maintain these farmlands? I want to spread the knowledge around to the rest of the people. 7% of you guys, but you own most of the farmland? How is that possible? Some people blame, it's because of privilege, white privilege, all this stuff. End of the day, that was 30 years ago? So in 30 years, they still own all the farmland? Redistribution of wealth and resources, that's what you've been relying on? This is why the white South Africans feel prosecuted. I could see it as, hey, they produce all the food, all the work, all the labor and the work, and the government just take from them and then redistribute it to the other people. And the people got complacent. That's the incentive. Show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome.
Constitution under the great leader of Nelson Mandela, and that allowed for a racial reconciliation, one that this country has yet to do, but South Africa did it, and they reformed their constitution, and part of that is that the people who are native to that land deserve their rightful land back.
And they're still holding on to grudges, even if so make it make sense. So she pointed out that, these people got their form of reparations, whatever, and they're still holding on to grudges. They're still holding on to hatred for these people. That's a sign to America to never give reparations to black people. I mean, black people today don't deserve reparations. That's just my argument. You don't deserve to benefit off the suffering of your ancestors. Like, that makes you as much of someone who takes advantage of other people as the slave owner did. You're no different from the slave owner. You want to take advantage of the suffering of your ancestors for your own personal gain? Does that sound moral to you? I digress.
That is not what the Afrikaners actually want to have happen, which are the white Africans, and so who are not originally from Africa, who colonized South Africa also. And so that is what they are saying is discrimination. Now, if the Constitution in South Africa is discriminatory, they have their checks and balances in that land, just like we do. And that is for them to, so if the Afrikaners don't actually like the land, they can leave that country.
They are. They're leaving to come here.
No. They can
These
leave
refugees
and
are
go,
coming here.
They can actually leave and go to where their native land is, which is probably Germany.
Are you
or
against them coming here?
Holland, probably.
Holland.
Are you
yes.
against them coming here?
I'm against the hypocrisy of this administration.
No, that's not the question.
We're against we're against your hypocrisy of your reaction. Like, I thought you wanted, we're a nation of immigrants. You don't want these immigrants here? Regardless if they're from Germany, Norway, Holland, it doesn't matter. You're against immigrants for coming here? Right? And this proves the replacement theory that all these people were crying about. Replacement theory doesn't exist. Changing demographics, remember that? Changing demographics. Let's import a bunch of demographics that typically vote Democrat for us. Let's not say a peep. Let's not complain. Let's not cry. But the minute Trump brings a demographic that happens to be favorable to the Republican Party, all of a sudden they cry foul. But changing demographics wasn't a thing, Democrats. You claim that. So we put your money, we put our money where it doesn't matter. Okay, demographics don't matter. Okay, let's bring this demographic into the country. Oh my God, they're bringing white Europeans. It's political, man. Democrats defend mass migration because they believe they benefit from mass migration. You have videos of Democratic congressmen happy about changing demographics, how non-white is the future. You could think of this as borderline racism. Imagine if we came in and a mass amount of migrants from white countries was going into Africa. I bet you she'll be saying this exact same stuff. But their whole argument and position flip the minute it's applied by the opposite side, and the numbers don't work in Democrats' favor. That's when they want to complain about the issue. That's when they want to complain about immigration. You want to talk about Trump's hypocrisy? What about your hypocrisy? And Trump's position has always been he's for legal immigration. He's not for illegal immigration. These people just walk across the border and Trump said, here, I'm going to give you temporary status. That's true hypocrisy. That would have been a true hypocritical moment for Donald Trump if these South Africans crossed the border illegally and came into this country and he gave them the red carpet. That would have been, that's hypocritical. But it's not. This is not hypocritical. Trump gave them legal status before they even came into the country. And he brought them in because he believes that they be legitimately prosecuted, which there's evidence and signs to show that that is the case. You just talked about disparities, right? 77% of the population owns 60 or 80% of the land. I just showed you a video about kill the farmers. If most of the farmers are these white South Africans, right? Like, this is the funny part. These people will say the disparities equals racism. So if you're prosecuting if he said kill the farmers and most of the farmers are white, isn't that a disparity there? Disproportional impact? Just like most criminals in jail are black. You call that racism, but you don't want to call hurting the farmers, killing the farmers as some sort of racial injustice. So that's an asylum claim, which is what you guys wanted, right? But they're mad that most of the people that they want imported into this country, 90% of them don't have a legitimate claim of asylum, while these people, they do. Through the legislation actions, you can see through South Africa's laws that they prosecute these people. They take from these people, all because of the sin of happening to be born, something you couldn't choose yourself. Make it make sense. You couldn't choose to be black. You couldn't choose to be born white. You couldn't choose to be born Asian. But you want to prosecute for something. You want to prosecute people for something that they didn't have firsthand involvement in. I digress.
The question is, are you against coming here?
If there was actually a genocide happening, like there is in other places in Sudan, in the Congo, I'm not opposed for Congolese and for the Sudanese to come to Africa, just like I'm not opposed to Venezuelans and South Americans coming to America if they are fleeing and looking for asylum. What I am
just
against,
these 50 people you're
what
against.
I am against, it's not about being against them. What I am against is that they are being given special treatment when there is not a genocide happening in South Africa, and they just don't like the law of the land.
Well,
so you know what they tell people?
Prosecution, yeah. If you had a law of the land where the government is, let's play a game. If Trump passed a bill or a law where he can go into and take black businesses because of the disproportional outcomes, disparities. Oh, look, this business is practicing DEI, which is racial discrimination, which causes disparities against Asians and white people. I want to take that. We will pass a law where the government can take that business away from ownership. I bet you people will have a problem with that. And that's exactly what kind of law passed in South Africa.
But there's a very high crime rate in South Africa. They have a crime problem. I suspect that part of what's going on here is that there is a very high-profile white South African named Elon Musk who is very close to President Trump and is probably making this a very high-profile issue.
And the funny part is, a lot of the ways they come to these conclusions or these claims, I feel like that's something that they do when they're in power. Like when Biden's in power, you got some Venezuelan person going in his ear saying, hey, you need to give more Venezuelans in the country. I feel like they do that. They're projecting a little bit here. That's how I take it. Anyway.
Issue and talking to Trump about it. You know, it's been. I mean, Elon Musk has tweeted about it. He's, I think, called the president of South Africa about it. He's been talking about this for a long time. Look, here's the problem. There's Afghanis who helped us.
We don't care about the sob story, bro. People, why do you have openly racist ownership laws, right? That's what's going on here. Imagine that. Oh, black people can't own businesses. You'll call that racist. But a government giving themselves a way out, or giving themselves power to take ownership of a business based on who's owning the business, based on the skin color of the person owning the business, you don't have a problem with that. And he's like, oh, if they don't like the laws, they can leave. But if Americans say that to the people in here complaining about the way the country is, the laws of this country, you call us racist though. But you can't call South Africans racist. Like, make it make sense. Make it make sense. But I digress. I just wanted to point that out because I've been hearing for a long time that replacement theory is a conspiracy theory, right? Now you got these people alluding to this stuff, getting mad about 50 Europeans coming over the country legally, invited by the president of the United States. They didn't cross the border illegally like most of these other illegal immigrants. Like, make it make sense. Trump says, I'm open to immigration through legal channels. This is one of them. But you're crying about it. You want to call him a hypocrite for it when that was always his position. He got an asylum claim. Hey, look, these people are being prosecuted by their government. You say, oh, they're not facing genocide, but they just mentioned there's a high crime rate in South Africa, which could be racially motivated, correct? Like all the games that these woke people play here, these South Africans, these white South Africans, they can have the same claim over there in Africa because they're the minority. But they're the wrong kind of minority. And this is why you're getting the reaction you're getting from the left. But I digress. Let me know your thoughts and perspective in the comments section below. I'll be interested to hear how you guys are reacting to this. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Please share this video if you feel so inclined. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.